Dylan, it is Christmas time officially in Christmas 365 world, baby.
Christmas! Oh my God! Dude, we fucking made it. We're here. We're ready. We're here.
It's all home runs for the next 2 months. It's
like
not
everything we want to watch.
Yeah, it's not us like grasping at straws of what isn't too Christmassy for July.
Yeah.
Like we're just like we're all in, baby.
Listen,
and we're kicking it off.
I think some of our off months produces some of the best material as
100%. And that's why people should. Yes, this is why people should subscribe and listen all year round to our podcast. I mean, we see the numbers. We see that November and December, there's a huge ass bump. And a lot of you stick around, and I appreciate that. I'm just telling you, we try to make it so it's not overwhelming. Like, stick around.
Much. So, like, so let me ask you this, because you are much more involved in the podcasting behind the scenes realm than I am. So I'm assuming some of those people that pop up around November, December are going back and listening to past episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming that counts towards like
our overall month numbers. Yeah, so month. Like
okay, so like if they're listening to a June episode, it's not going to be like, "Hey, your June stuff."
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll
good.
tell you our biggest episode, full transparency. Family Force 5 Christmas pageant has like close to 2,000 downloads. Dude, it's insane how many people because you can't find that album anywhere. So you can't find it.
If you search it on the iTunes store, our
episode comes up.
Like there is no Family Force 5 Christmas pageant on iTunes anymore. I don't know what happened, what rights issue, what licensing issue.
I think that's what it was last year. All these Family Force 5 fans were looking for that album and were disappointed to find us instead. Well, it's something.
Don't go to YouTube where you'll find the actual album. Come to iTunes.
Come to iTunes or Spotify.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
But spoilers, I really like that album.
I know you do. All right.
Matt is super indifferent.
So the thing that I need to talk about, though, we're kicking this off. This was a you pick.
Dude,
we're doing
a big
Elf.
one. This is a big fucking pick.
This is a big pick, and here's something that made me feel old as fucking shit.
I don't want to know. Is it? Hold on, let me guess. Hold on. 2003.
20-year anniversary of this movie released this week.
That's right. I forgot. That's why we're doing this. That makes more sense.
I cannot believe. Like, there are things where I'm like, oh, that came out like, this feels like it just came out like 5 years ago in my mind.
It's so funny because, like, I consider this one of the last, like,
modern day classics.
Like, this is the last. No,
homeboy, it's 20 years. It is a classic.
Like, it is no longer a modern classic. Elf is 20 years old. That's fucking bonkers. That's bonkers to me.
Yeah, if they had movies on classic rock radio, like this is officially moving to the classic rock station.
This is going to be on Turner Classic Movies.
Like, yeah. So I want to say something real fast about this movie.
Yeah, go for it. I fucking hate this movie.
No. I've loved this movie, but for a long time, my feeling towards Elf was similar to your feeling of Hocus Pocus, where I'm like, it's really good, but people just like love it almost too much, and I was like kind of getting burnt out on like I was getting burnt out on like everything being Elf references at Christmas time. So this is probably the first time in like 2 or 3 years that I really sat down and watched it. Like it wasn't just like background music, and god damn it if I didn't cry the entirety of the last 10 minutes of this movie. It is so good.
A good movie. And there are a few movies that give me that Christmas spirit feeling, like the end of this movie when they're all singing in New York.
Oh my god, it kills me.
Everybody believe. Oh my god.
When he's even him just reading the list of everyone's wishes, and he reads the little girl's wish, and she's just laying in bed and goes like, "Thank you, buddy." Like,
oh god.
It's so much. It's so good, but it's also so funny. Like the funny parts still work, and I think it's easy to forget that. Like I just double checked. This is really Will Ferrell's first like lead man starring role. Like he was part of an ensemble and a bunch of stuff. He was in like Zoolander and Old School before this, and like technically I guess like Night of the Roxbury was his first starring role, but this is the movie that made Will Ferrell. Like we're the Will Ferrell that we're getting in 2023 may not have existed if Elf wasn't like the home run that it was. Like this was big win.
I really wish the marketing for Elf would have been star of Night at the Roxbury.
Star of the Night at the Roxbury. Dude, do you know how successful this movie actually was? Because I just checked.
Matt, that's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, budget of 33 mil.
Yeah.
225 mil. And this was a huge... I thought that this was like a sleeper hit in my brain.
No.
This is a home run.
This was huge. So to make you feel even older, I was 11 when this movie came out.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you have been?
I was 11
I was going into college, but...
I was 11 years old when this movie came out, and not through like, oh my God, take me to go see it. I saw this movie 3 times in theaters.
Oh, so you were like $25 of that 225
I was part of that
million.
225 million. So opening night, I one of those weird things that this memory just sticks in your head. We're having dinner, and my parents didn't do movies often. Like if I went to see a movie, I was going with my grandmother. So my parents are sitting there, we're having dinner. And they're like, you know what? Let's go see a movie. Let's go see what's out. So we walked over and we saw Elf and fucking loved it. And then the following week, one of my cousins came to my grandmother's. And my grandmother was like, let's go see Elf. And I was like, I've already seen it, but let's rock. Yeah. And then like the following week, I had a group of friends that had like a birthday party and went to go see Elf. And I was there for that too. I adored this movie as a kid.
So I was a year behind on this movie.
Oh, shit.
So also I just want to shout out because I double checked. This was only Jon Favreau's second film as a director. And his first one was MADE. So this made him as well, honestly.
He's gotten his flowers, but I fucking props to Jon Favreau. Like,
guy's tons of great movies.
It in life.
And he seems like just a genuinely good dude, which also helps.
He seems like he enjoys what he does, and I hope I don't know much about him personally, but I do hope he is that huge nerd that I'm glad he's also gotten to play with his action figures. You know, like
100%.
Like with the Star Wars crew and the Marvel crew. Like that's awesome. Good for him.
So my first experience with this movie. I had a group of friends through the church youth group who, like, as everyone started to graduate college that were years older than us, Thanksgiving, we would all get together at one person's house and we would just kind of like binge movies and play like Phase 10 and catch up with like how the last year had been. And weirdly enough, for years, the movies that we would watch were like a constant rotation of the movie Slackers with like Josh Hartnett, or not Josh Hartnett, Devon Sawa and like Jason Segel and Jason Schwartzman. It's like a filthy college comedy. It was that and the Lord of the Rings movies. Like we would just watch those all the time.
Yeah.
Then I remember the winter of 2004, this got introduced. It started to be Elf and a Lord of the Rings movie. And then the next year, I want to say, was when Mean Girls got introduced into it. And it was just Elf and Mean Girls. We would just hang out, and it was always Elf and Mean Girls. But it wasn't until...
Which one would you do first?
Mean Girls. Build into the Christmas.
I was going to say, like, if you did them opposite, I was going to, like, we were going to end this podcast.
No. Like, you start with Mean Girls. Yeah, you build to Elf.
Mean Girls is a clear Thanksgiving movie.
It's a clear, this is just a movie. Like, I don't like people being like, oh, it's a Christmas movie because there's 5 minutes of the movie that takes place at Christmas time. It's the same thing with any of the Harry Potter movies. Like, we cannot claim any Harry Potter movies as a Christmas movie. There's 5 minutes of Christmas time in any of those movies.
Freeform will definitely tell you that
that's
Harry
what
Potter
I'm saying.
Is a Christmas movie, a Halloween movie, a Thanksgiving movie, and fuck you, we're doing an Arbor Day marathon.
Yeah, it's just like, it's ridiculous.
There's trees in those movies.
But this movie, I was like genuinely shocked at how funny this movie was. I feel like I'm really out of the loop with Elf stuff though, because like I'm looking at this Wikipedia page. I did not know that there was a Broadway musical based on Elf. It makes sense, but I didn't know.
From what I've heard, it's not great. Good. But duh.
And I didn't know that there was a stop motion TV special.
That I did know as well. Haven't seen it. Know nothing about that one. So
I mean, you know that I'm a dude who fucking loves his stop motion animation.
Yeah.
And
so that's going to be a solid, like, May watch.
Oh, we should watch this, actually. I just clicked into it. Do you know anything about this? Don't click into it.
Okay, I'm not doing anything. Hands are off the keyboard.
Who do you think the voices are in this Elf stop motion animation special?
Is this the thing? Okay, so I have a weird memory of John Hader doing something as a voice of something. No, it's not John Hader. Okay,
it's Jim Parsons. As Buddy, and his dad is Mark Hamill.
That's fucking wild.
And the Zoe Deschanel character is Kate Micucci.
Oh my god.
And they got Ed Asner to come back for Santa. But then it also features voice acting from Fred Armisen, Gilbert Gottfried, Jay Leno, and Rachel Bloom. And I'm like, fuck, man, that actually... this is really good.
like we booked some decently sized people, and then we just grabbed the 90s who to fill in the rest of our voices.
Hey, Jay Leno, fresh off of ruining Conan O'Brien's career, do you want to show up and do a couple voices?
Christ.
Oh, you know what? This is kind of perfect, though. Jay Leno is the voice of fake Santa Claus.
Oh, of course he is. This was 10 years after...
10 years, 11 years,
11 years after.
So maybe if we can find a copy of that, maybe that's definitely not. I would not burn in November, December on that.
This is not a Christmas pick. Like, this is
no. Look, for those of you who haven't cracked the code on this, and man, I feel so bad because we get so many emails of like, would you like to interview me because I am a Mrs. Santa Claus, and it's like, yeah, and like March, maybe,
yep,
like November, December is for Matt and Dylan to just geek out about the things that we hold oh so dear in our hearts.
Yeah, this is like our classic stuff, man. Like like picking Elf was honestly big because I'm like, dude, we've eventually got to talk about Elf, but I don't want to burn it yet. But
you literally said we got to talk about Elf eventually, and I was like, hey man, November 7th, it's 20-year anniversary of its release, and you're like, all right, then we have the reason to do it. Yeah, like let's.
But we
do it.
We see everyone's messages. Like seriously. It's not a great time. Like, like
I hate to say it like that.
We will message.
We will talk to you.
Yep,
yeah,
mid-January, and from January to pretty much August, we are like, let's send us your stuff, dude. We're down to chat. We love talking Christmas, and we love other people helping us stay in the Christmas spirit. But like those, like even in September, like September to December 31st. We're pretty much locked in to our stuff. So again, please keep messaging us. We see them all. Just like message us maybe a little later.
Hey, welcome to Unstable Topics, a fast-paced, jam-packed, unhinged bestie podcast filled with facts, reacts, and made-up games in between.
We're your hosts, Sarah
and Maggie.
And we're excited for you to join our best friend hangout, where we surprise one another with things we find interesting or hilarious just to see how the other will react.
Our friendship might be totally stable, but you never know what your bestie might throw your way to knock you off your game.
So come shake things up, learn something new, and laugh along with us. This is Unstable Topics.
I mean, I'm looking at this real quick. I'm just looking at the cast, and this is also a pretty stacked fucking
cast. Dude, it's fucking stacked, man.
You know what I mean? Like, you've got a lot of, like... But it's stacked in an interesting way, right?
Yeah.
Because it's stacked for you and I.
Yes.
But honestly...
Very much so.
Honestly, if you're thinking in 2003, James Caan's probably the biggest established name in this movie at that time.
For sure.
Like Will Ferrell, Zoe Deschanel, like they're kind of like on the up of their careers.
This is pre-New Girl, like real
pre-New
Girl.
Girl. Ed Asner and Bob Newhart are like kind of like on the downward for in a big way for their careers. And then you've got just like people that you and I would geek out about, where you've got like Artie Lang and Kyle Gass and Andy Richter and Matt Walsh, like these people who are like comedy gods. And then even like who's there? There's the one elf is like the kid from A Christmas Story, right?
Christmas Story, yeah. Oh my God, what's his name? Hold on, I'm scrolling down because I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm blanking
Once I
on it.
see it, I'll know.
Is it Peter Billingsley?
Yes.
Or is it?
Yep, that's him. Peter Billingsley. Yeah. I mean, it's just it's a love letter to Christmas classics as well. You've got the stop motion Leon Redbone as the snowman.
So good.
God, dude. Chef's
Did you
kiss.
know? I did not know this. Ray Harryhausen was the voice of the polar bear.
What?
Yeah, that
Dude.
must have been one of his last anything.
I was gonna say I didn't even know Ray Harryhausen was still alive when this movie.
He
came
lived
out.
until 2013, my dude.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he was an old man when he went.
Yeah.
He was
but
92. But
holy fuck.
I want to ask, who is of like the brief we'll call it like brief cameo characters.
Yeah.
Right? Like people who are maybe only in it for like one or two scenes.
Yeah.
Who do you think is like the peak
It's
for you?
Dinklage.
Really? Because
Dinklage.
I think I got to give it to Faison Love. Faison Love as
Oh,
the
yeah.
manager is so
Yeah.
good.
Faison Love. So it's so
Like when
funny.
he's like the code word is Santa's got a brand new bag. Like,
I love that whenever I see Faison Love, the only thing I think about is The Replacements. Like Jamal from The Replacements. I fucking love that movie. But yeah, he kills it. But dude, Dinklage is so fucking good.
And this is again
this
kind
is
of
pre-Game of Thrones.
Yeah, like at most people will be like, "Oh, the guy from Station Agent." Like he's
Yeah.
not he's not an
Exactly.
established big name in any major way. Like I'm looking at his credits and yeah, the Station Agent was the same year. You know what I mean? Like it was very he was still on the rise.
So do we don't have to talk about like the plot. Like everybody
No, we don't
knows
have to
the
go plot by plot. I would just say like let's talk about the moments that work for it. So here's something that I told Barb and it blew her mind.
Yeah.
This is the first time I ever heard the song Baby It's Cold Outside.
Hey, do you want to know something about me? This
Same.
is also the first time I heard
Dude,
Baby It's Cold
that
Outside.
and the rendition, I mean, I love the soundtrack version of
Yeah.
Leon and Zoe.
The soundtrack version has become my favorite version to have on any
100%.
playlists.
100%.
But
But I
this-
love the version of In the Shower. I
Oh,
love her
it's so
singing in the
sweet.
shower and him like softly singing along and like it is the sweetest rendition that there has ever been of Baby It's Cold Outside. It's
is,
almost
it's so
sensual in a
genuine.
weird. Yeah, like it's so
It is. And I feel like we've all done what Zoe Deschanel's doing, like where you like sing a duet and you like
Yeah.
because she can't hear him in the
Yeah.
beginning. So we'll sing our part and then the rest of the part will play in our head as she's
all
awkwardly
the time.
singing to herself. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so beautiful until he hits that last note, thus
Yeah.
startling her and being
Everything
like,
goes down. But it is really, really good.
Also,
I
the
love
showers at work thing threw me off because I've never worked anywhere where there's been a shower available for you.
I mean, theoretically you do.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
available for you,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But
I
the
guess
gym
technically-
definitely has some showers
Yes,
in it.
technically I do.
If you lost the water at your house, you could theoretically show up to work early and
Guess
get a quick
so.
shower
I've never
in there.
thought about it. Oh my God, is my privilege coming out? I am so sorry. Zoe
I mean, 'cause I work-
Deschanel's working at a department store on
Yeah.
around Christmas. She probably doesn't have water or something.
Yeah, she literally said that. He said, "Why are you showering
Oh, that's
here?" And
right.
she said,
I'm
"They
out
shut
of
off
water.
my water."
Oh my God, my privilege is coming out.
You know what though? Here's something that's really weird. The ending of this movie
Yeah.
hits me, and it's so sweet and it's so beautiful. I put this movie on like really late at night.
Yeah.
And I have seen it 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
So I did fast forward through almost anything with Will Ferrell and James Caan because I'm just like, this is just it's always my least favorite part of the
Yeah.
movie because it's either really upsetting how mean James Caan is,
Yeah.
or I'm just like, these parts aren't that funny. Like they're usually just
But
like
I
very.
also kind of understand where James Caan's coming from.
Oh, 1,000%. He's not like. I think that they do a good job of like, yeah, he's on the naughty list, but it's not
Yeah.
like he's fucking evil. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
no.
Like it's just like,
He's just doing his fucking job.
yeah,
And-
he's just a
and-
grump. He's in a job that's made him a grump,
Yep.
and he's trying to do. I think that there's a lot that you can connect to, where it's like he's doing the best he can to provide for his family, and it's one of those
Yeah.
classic movies where it's like, yeah, but the family wants you. They don't care about having the most expensive car or the biggest tree in the neighborhood, or like they just want you home. It's kind of like the elf family in Alien Xmas.
It is just like the elf family in Alien Xmas. The only difference is that James Caan is a human and is not being forced to work on Christmas, and that being the only day he works.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying it's different because James Caan doesn't have approximately 350 days off to spend with the family.
Exactly. But also, like, he's part of a job. Listen, I know that there are people out there who do struggle around the holiday season, and working during the holiday season can be rough, but there are certain jobs where things pick up around the holiday season.
Yeah.
And it is unfortunate, but you kind of know what you're signing up for. And
I do think that this is an insane call, though, of we've got to meet.
Oh, the working on Christmas Eve thing?
We got to meet on Christmas Eve. Yeah, we got to meet on Christmas Eve to come up with the book that's going to save us this year. Like, the year's over, my dude.
You lost. You failed. You're not coming back.
Yeah, like, you're not. What? You're going to release a book? You're going to rush the printing of a book on Christmas Eve that people buy for Christmas gifts? Like, what are you fucking talking about?
Love the scene where Andy Richter and Kyle Gass find Dinklage's notebook.
And they just start spitballing ideas.
They start referencing stuff. What is it? He's like, oh my God, I forget what vegetables it was. But
yeah, they pitch VeggieTales, basically.
Yeah, I think they were like, a squash is too vulnerable. And but in here, he's talking about an eggplant. What's more vulnerable than an eggplant? Like, it is so...
Dude,
good.
Kyle Gass should have the biggest career in the world in comedy.
It is so unfortunate that he does not.
Every time he shows up in any movie, it kills me. Like, one of my favorite ones is his very brief cameo in Saving Silverman as the magician trying to pick her up at the bar. And it's just like, he's so cheesy. He's so good at playing like cheesy dork. Yeah. Like,
it is, and it's almost more charming that he just kind of shows up out of nowhere sometimes.
Yeah, just pops up here and there.
And I mean, he's doing well. Him and JB. What's up? You're making a face.
I was like, I wonder what Kyle Gass has been up to. Do you want to know what the last? Do you want
Please tell me this isn't a moment where you're like, we should stop talking about.
No. It's just so for most of his career, there's hyperlinks, right? You're like, he was Jesus Christ. His first two acting roles were in Brain Dead and Jacob's Ladder in 1990 as like small roles.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that Brain Dead is not Dead Alive, but
no, the one with like the stretched out face on it, starring Bill, the one of the rare Bill Pullman, Bill Paxton movies.
Yeah.
But like when we start to recognize him, it's like Biodome, Cable Guy, Idle Hands. Like he's popping up in these. Like he's popping up in these movies, and like it's just like hyperlink. And then we get to 2012, and after 2012, there's not hyperlinks.
Beverly Hills
right?
Chihuahua.
Beverly Hills Chihuahua 3, Viva la Fiesta. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, that is unfortunate. People cast Kyle Gass and more shit.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
This is really unfortunate. But it also, he's got a thriving musical career. Like
That's true. He's doing his thing.
He's got the D. He's also got his own band. It actually looks like he's got two different bands going on.
Well, he was in Trainwreck for a while as well, was the other band. So we also have to talk about the moment in this movie that feels the most like Tim Burton's Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which is when Buddy has the nightmare with the Jack in the Box cackling at him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was one of the things
switch.
Watching this movie again for the first time in a while, I have to give credit where credit's due. Jon Favreau comes up with some really interesting like camera choices throughout it. Like a lot of like close-ups on people's faces, or like he doesn't shoot it like a second-time director for sure. Like you watch MADE, and I feel like MADE is a very good movie, but it doesn't take any like visual risks in it. And this does feel like he's doing a lot. Like The jump from Made to this is insane. He went from
really
a $5 million movie to a $33 million movie. Like it's a big ass budget jump.
That's what like I'm trying to like. There's no real information of like where the studio landed. Like how did we go? Let's get the guy that did Made, to make Elf.
I wonder if he pitched it. Like that's what I'm trying to find out. Like
no, apparently it was a script originally wrote in '93.
Well, it's based on a book, right? Like I feel like it ending with it being a book is because it was based on
it.
Oh, maybe the book came out after.
Yeah, it looks like. So again, we're on Wiki. Anybody can really change that.
With Chris Farley and Jim Carrey both being early candidates.
I don't think I would have liked it as much with either of them.
No. I think
Will Ferrell is Buddy the Elf.
You know what? Here's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, go for it.
A friend brought this up to me.
Yeah.
And I had never seen it through this lens before. Mm-hmm. But we were talking about Chris Farley and Chris Farley's unfortunate early passing.
Yes.
And, I said a comment that I'm sure a lot of people say, which is like, if not for Chris Farley passing away, Kevin James wouldn't have a career. Like Kevin James kind of just like slipped into the role that would have been Chris Farley's. And my friend kind of pushed back on that, and he's like, I don't think so.
Agree. Yeah,
he said, I think that Chris Farley would have branched away from a lot of the Adam Sandler stuff, and his point was that even in the few movies that Chris Farley for, Tommy Boy, Black Sheep, all that, there is this inherent sadness and longing to be loved in his characters.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that Chris Farley actually could have pulled off a home run with Buddy. Yeah. I think his Buddy would have been way more loud, which I don't like.
Yeah.
But I think
that's
those
my biggest
moments
fear with it.
But I think he would have actually nailed the dramatic beats.
Definitely.
Of like Buddy's longing to be loved by his father. Because he actually pitched, he was like, in a perfect world, Chris Farley would have been cast as the Thing in a Fantastic Four movie. Like he would have been really perfect for like that, like stress of like being seen as this crazy monster when you have a heart and feelings and emotions. He's
Could you imagine that? Like, okay, so how old would Chris Farley be now?
Let's see. He was born in 1964. Jesus.
40, 50. So he'd be almost 60.
Yeah.
Most of those Marvel movies are CG anyway.
Yeah. Well, and we're thinking that would have been in 2003, 2004.
I'm thinking revitalize his career. No longer doing comedies. At 60 years old, Chris Farley debuts as the Thing. And the Thing is always... Listen, I'm no Fantastic Four expert at all. But he's always been like the older member of the group, right? Like he's always been like the more seasoned vet of the team. I could see it.
So... Sorry, I'm just continuing to read this Wikipedia page. And it says... I'm curious to see what this original script was. So the guy who wrote the script also wrote like The Haunted Mansion in 2003 and not a lot of home runs, honestly.
So I was going to say, wait a minute.
Yeah, he wrote The Haunted Mansion in 2003. He wrote Zoom in 2006, like the not Sky High superhero movie starring Tim Allen.
Oh my God. Dude, I have seen Zoom an unreasonable amount of times.
He wrote the Spiderwick Chronicles in 2008. Like this dude really, this is his peak. He is from Philly though, so
I think
if you
I might
hear
have
this
the
episode,
DVD around here. Spiderwick Chronicles.
Yeah. I remember that because that was right when I was working at a video store that came out. But according to Jon Favreau, he originally turned down the script because it was too dark for him, and he didn't find it interesting.
Oh, I want to see the original script so bad.
But because the first person they went to direct was the guy who did like Ghost World and Bad Santa. And like the documentary about Robert Crumb, and he did Art School Confidential. Like they went for like a real like deep cut indie like weird guy. But Jon Favreau said it was much too dark, but he really wanted to work with Will Ferrell in his first post Saturday Night Live movie and asked if he could rewrite it. He said the turning point came when he realized that he could make Buddy's entire world an homage to Rankin and Bass Christmas specials.
He does such a good fucking job at that.
Yeah, and he said that originally it was a PG-13 movie, and he was able to bring it down to a PG by like taking out those darker elements and really just like playing it as and I think that this works. This wouldn't work in the tone of A Bad Santa.
No.
Like this works because he is such a genuine beacon of love. Yep. And I don't think that
he's a kid.
He's a child, and I don't think that you need it to make. I'm sure the darker part was probably that they made James Caan way worse. Like probably way meaner. Maybe the North Pole had way more of like a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, like this fucking idiot doesn't know it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that it's just filled with heart.
Runs rampant in the North Pole.
also, Zooey Deschanel being a singer wasn't in the original script. Jon Favreau added it when he learned that she could sing. So,
I think I'm gonna go on a real she and him kick today. Now that
I was gonna say, in a direct line, we wouldn't have she and him if not for Jon Favreau.
Which she and him rules.
She and him is really good. I don't like their Christmas album that much. Weirdly,
no, I don't. The reason I think we've talked about that I don't want to say they changed too much, but it doesn't give me that Christmas feeling.
No, the songs that remind me the most of Christmas are like the ones that stick the closest to the original renditions.
Sure.
Their version of Baby It's Cold Outside is way too goddamn fast.
Yeah, like, I don't like it.
So
I
quick.
don't like it. I think so a couple years ago, I think, and we talked about this, they did a live action remake of The Year Without a Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And by a couple years ago, I mean like two fucking decades ago. I don't think we need to do that. I don't think we need to touch any of the Rankin Bass stuff because this is a good remake of a Rankin Bass. Like, I mean, this. You could take this entire movie and you wouldn't even have to change any lines. Like, you could literally just transfer it over to stop motion claymation. It really is, to me, the perfect live action Rankin Bass movie.
It's perfect. I mean, it's a flawless movie. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to bring up. I feel like we've nailed all of it. The ending, specifically, when they're all singing. I'm gonna throw out a movie that we are going to absolutely cover before this podcast ends. But the ending reminds me of Scrooged. Where you have everybody singing and it cuts to every character that you've met throughout the movie, either watching TV and singing, or it's just, and that's another one where the ending of that movie, the ending of Scrooged, hits me so hard. Yeah. When you're just cutting to every single character that you've met on that journey singing Put a Little Love in Your Heart. Like, This is the best rendition of Santa Claus is Coming to Town that's ever existed.
And this movie is such a love letter to those old Christmas classics. Again, I mean, Scrooged was definitely a classic.
It was 15 years old by the time this came out. Yeah.
So, like, and I love that there's so many subtle nods to it. It's not like, hey, you remember this? But it's like, hey, the elf is played by Ralphie. Like, hey, this is obviously a take on Rudolph. Hey, this is a little... You can't tell me that wasn't a nod to Scrooge, like, on purpose.
So let me ask you this question, because there's one thing that kicked into my brain today, specifically watching this.
Yeah.
Did you see Barbie?
No, I didn't. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh. All right.
You're like, I can't ask.
Slight spoiler.
Let me be honest.
Spoiler,
I'm not worried about the Barbie cinematic universe being ruined for me, so you can go ahead and spoil it.
So slight spoiler for Barbie, but Will Ferrell plays the head of Mattel.
Yeah, doesn't he basically play the... Like, it just reminds me, when I had already read the spoiler of this, and it just reminds me of the same character he played in Lego, like, where the big reveal is like Legos.
Yeah, it's very similar to that. He's like the head of Mattel, but there is a series of things you have to do to come in and out of Barbie World.
Okay.
And there is a sequence where Will Ferrell, as the head of Mattel, is walking everybody through what to do. And it's like this green screen effect of him going through all of it. Yeah. And I was like, this 1000% reminds me of the journey that Buddy has to go through to get into the real world.
And
like,
then we cross the journey of or the land of gumdrop buttons.
It's so fucking funny. And I'm like, I feel like that may have been intentional because the Barbie script is very smart. Yeah. And it's like, why not be like, hey, let's have Will Ferrell essentially repeat his like iconic speech from Elf, but just like changed ever so slightly.
I feel like I prefer kids movie version of Will Ferrell to
he's
Will Ferrell.
No, let me look at. I think I.
Are you disagreeing with me?
No. I want to just double check here. Elf, yeah.
He's so good. Lego Movie, we just talked about that one.
Lego Movie's
really
great.
Good.
I mean, Stranger Than Fiction's kind of a whole other world because that's his like spirited kids movie. Like, yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with you. I think he's a better. I mean, there's definitely some clunkers like Daddy's Home 2, and
which I don't even
like
count those. Like the to me, those movies fall more in the realm of the Happy Madison stuff.
I think that he's always better in small doses and stuff. Like when he shows up in, say, The Ladies' Man or Drowning Mona, before he was like a big name.
Yeah.
He like really made those moments shine. I've never been an Anchorman guy.
Nope. I do love Talladega Nights. Talladega Nights.
Well, I was going to say, of those films, I feel like Talladega Nights and Step Brothers are the two best ones. And then the rest I kind of could live without.
And I almost feel like Step Brothers works well for him because, again, he's playing a kid.
Yeah. Him playing a child. It's so funny because it's him playing a child or him doing a sincerely adult dramatic role are his best jobs. Like when he has to play like loud opinionated douchebag, he's not. I feel like everyone's trying to capture the mom Meatloaf with any like adult douchebag role that he plays. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, how do we get his character of Chaz from Wedding Crashers to be like the star of a movie? And it's like that character only works because he shows up for 5 minutes, he's a piece of shit, and he's gone.
Exactly. Nobody wants to watch that obnoxious piece of shit for an hour and a half. But I'll watch this guy act like a child because, like, you and me, we act like children, man. Like,
that's what the whole show is.
Like, we wouldn't have this show if you and I were fully operating, not mental health issued adults. Like,
yeah, well, like, listen, Dylan, man, it's a fucking Merry Christmas. It's officially Christmas.
Hell yeah,
and
it is.
You know what they say? The best way to spread Christmas cheer is to sing loudly for all to hear. So next week, we're going to sing fucking loudly to one of my favorite Christmas albums.
Hell yeah, we are. So let's send them off with, hey, have a Merry Christmas, Matt.
Merry Christmas, Dylan.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
Now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Have a happy holly. Have a great, great, great holly. Have a merry, 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 happy holiday.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.